Blessed by it. Yes. Praise God. Well, fighting for your identity, we went over what is going on nowadays. We went over mistaken identity and identity theft, and how you may look and sound like somebody, so you have a mistaken identity because you feel like you have to be that person. Because somebody tells you, oh, you look just like your mother, you act just like your mother, you just like her. So you try to become her instead of fulfilling who God called you to be. And the mistaken identity where you steal somebody else's identity because you feel like they're better, because you feel like they're more anointed or they're more faithful, they're greater than you, as if God did something better for them than he did for you. So we were talking about that. We were talking about some of the reasons why that happens is because of when people tell us things, we take their opinion and we make it our reality, then we make it our identity and we turn it to somebody else because ours isn't good enough. Because we feel like when God knitted them in their womb, he did a little something extra special, and he did less when he knitted us in our womb. So we just started to go through and start to peel off of some of the ways, if you are easily offended, or if you have that comparison spirit, you're probably not walking in your identity, because what God is doing in you and somebody else, we don't have to compare. I made the example about how Mommy AC sees, and she's called up and she says it, but when God started allowing me to see things, he never called me to go up front, he called me to pray. And it doesn't mean that mine was less than hers. It just means that he had us doing separate things because she needed to be heard and I needed to intercede. So I didn't have to compare my gift to her. I don't have to try to be like her. I can walk in my own identity and in my own gift, and it will be enough. And we talked about how you combat and how you walk and find your identity, and it's seeking God diligently, intentionally, and with expectation.
That's it.
You have to continue to seek God, because he said we were made in his image. So if we're made in his image, as what I find God, I find me. Because that's where my identity lies in Christ. So if I really want to find me, I find him. I find the characteristics of God, and then I compare it to the characteristics of Vashti, and then when I see it, I find the scripture of it, and then if I'm not working in that characteristic, I pray that scripture to pray against that thing that I'm doing that's not like him, but to enhance that thing that I'm doing that's like him, like being giving, being merciful. I talked about when somebody told me that being merciful and all of that was my weakness. I tried to push it off, and then I tried to take on somebody else's identity and use what I thought was their strength, when I later found out it was their weakness. So I was working after somebody's weakness, off of somebody else's weakness instead of my strength. And I'm wondering why I was in a deficit. I'm wondering why things weren't moving. It's because I was working off of somebody else's weakness that I thought was their strength, because it was different than me. So when I learned to walk in my own strength and my own identity, I saw what God was doing in me. Now I can be freed, and I said, God, show me me. And when I said, God, show me me, he said, if you want me to show you you, find me. Seek me, and then expect that I'll do it. And then when you seek me, do it diligently. You can't stop. I'm too deep. You can't stop seeking God. And then he said, do it intentionally. Don't haphazardly do it. Don't do it because it's an obligation. Don't do it because you have a title. Seek me continuously, because there's still so much in you that I have to reveal, and then I have to take out so many of those other identities that you took on. So you have to continually seek me with intention and know exactly what you're coming to me for, and then expect that I'll do it for you. And then you start the cycle all over again. Because there are going to be two cycles. There's going to be a cycle when you're always trying to be somebody else, or there's going to be a cycle when you're consistently walking in your own identity, your own power, your own authority that God has given you, and you no longer have to compare yourself to anybody else, because you realize the strength in them and the strength in you, and we're all different parts of the same body working to the glorification of God.